So we're gonna take some time to talk about a little framework that we came up with in the last couple months as Omar and I were reflecting around just what does it take to stand out in this crowded landscape of software, technology companies, consumer products. A lot of that leveraging experience that I've had investing in SaaS leaders and running marketing for Revolve, and Omar at this time at Beats. Omar, why don't you talk a little about just kind of how you're feeling today about products and systems and companies and AI and all that?
Oh, look, I as a not sort of coming from a tech industry founder, looking at the world of software gets interesting, the things you can do. And as we all know, software is way more capable than it's ever been, but it tends to suck in a lot of places. So I think when Kobie and I spent a lot of time talking about what we're thinking about, what I'm building, what he's looking for in companies, we start to identify a few really interesting traits of things that stood out. But when I look at the broad spectrum of the thousands of software companies out there, just didn't fall in love with any products. So
we'll go. So anyway, today we're unveiling our framework we call Fabric. We hope you like it. It's what we're using in regards to how we're building companies, how we're investing in companies. And we're sharing it here at Startup Grind into the world because we want to create a common language with regards to what we think are the keys to standing out in anything today, software in particular. So taking a step back, 30,000 SaaS companies worldwide. Someone actually told me yesterday that the number is close to 145,000 as they're going on searching on LinkedIn Navigator. Long story short, there's a lot of software out there, and frankly, I think most of it sucks because it is highly functional, but it doesn't really allow you to feel like they're communicating and leveraging you as a human in terms of its capabilities. So we took a step back and realized that there are 6 principles that really stood out for us that allows people to really feel like they're experiencing magical software. It's being fast, it's being addictive, it's being bold, it's being integrated, and it's being built on community. Some of what we're here today at Startup Grind is being built on community. So we're gonna walk through all these today. So fast.
Real quick, Cole, before you get started. So one key thing I thought was pretty amazing as we started to build this and Kobie and I started to work on the languages. How do we find really simple, fun ways, not only you can understand the concept, but then how do you start to use it? So we're going to talk not only about examples, but how I'm using it as a founder, and also how Kobie's looking through the lens of what he's investing in for some of these attributes. So
the one thing about this, it's so incredibly simple that it may just go over your head, but if you pause and take a time to really think about what this stuff means, and our goal is to be able to create a destination and an experience where we can actually learn from one another through other examples. It'll make it easier to figure out how to actually aspire to be these principles. So fast. When I think about fast, I think about how do you actually get work done, clicked with ease. And you know fast software when you feel it and you see it, and you know slow software. Slow software where it feels like it just takes time to get that task done, to find that right menu item, to get that output you want. So I think about like fast software, I think about platforms like Superhuman. And the reason why Superhuman is so fast is because they adhere toward a benchmark KPI being every action needs to be done within 100 milliseconds. And that was a benchmark that the creator of Gmail put out there because that's when everything feels instantaneous. So how are we gonna be fast if you actually don't measure whether you're fast or not? So my opinion, for fast software to truly exist, you need to actually have a system and a process in a way of measuring fast and hold yourself accountable to where you're not achieving that speed.
before we move on, Cobe, so go back one slide. So just to add on to fast, I've been using fast in a slightly different way, which is everything from how we select architecture for the architecture we're building on, to how we think about things like workflow. What I've discovered with a lot of our engineers is super capable. They can make anything we ask for happen. We start to ask for more things to happen in fewer spaces, in fewer clicks. And for us, it started to create some pretty huge dimensional shifts in our product that's made it much faster. Where again, I think our team was looking at, okay, can we actually execute it? The answer became yes. Can we do it faster? Can we create less clicks? Can we actually evolve steps away? And we've been able to do that with some of what we're building. So let's get to addictive.
Yeah, but like fast also applies to so many different things. Fast time to value, fast time to onboarding. It's just something that everything that you should be doing as a user should just feel fast.
So addictive, this concept of a product that you can't stop using. So the example we chose is chat. And I don't know about you all, but I've been in chat pretty much multiple times every day. Now, right, wrong, we all have our opinions on the future of AI and what chat's doing. But when you think about the ability for it to keep me engaged, day by day by day, different questions, deeper prompts, and I think we even have an example here. Kobie, what'd you prompt?
I asked it why is it so addictive, and it just gave me the answer.
Yeah, so we asked ChatGPT why is it so addictive, and literally this is the answer it wrote back for us. And again, we started to have fun with shorten this, make this more witty, make this more. We've had a lot of fun, and it just keeps you coming back for more. So as I'm considering a product that we're building, how do we find ways that are like maybe snacky ways for you to participate in our product, but also stay engaged with it where you want to be in it moment after moment after moment.
And when you think about addictive, think about the benchmark that video games have created. When you play a video game, it's the dopamine release in your brain where you just want to come back for more and more. Like software should feel fun. Software should feel like you're getting that dopamine hit. And if you're not creating the mindset that it will have that, then I think you're leaving money on the table with regards to enabling and empowering your users. And by the way, all these principles expand well beyond just software. But think about what Omar has done with Beats. He took sterile, boring headphones. He made them cool and sexy, and people wearing them on their necks at the Olympics. So think about if you're here and you're not a software company, all of these principles apply to you.
Bold. Bold can be sometimes hard to evaluate, but typically when you see it, you get it. Let's kick into the next slide. So we're both investors in this company called Soot, and what they've done to reimagine search. As a person who spent a lot of time in looking at tons of files and colors and images and celebrities and sports moments, this became deeply valuable to me. I think about how I had hard drives full of different documents that I typically just forget that are there. But this way of being able to see a file system, see it visually, organize it visually, and also search it visually has been a really interesting and bold step. And I'm not sure if anyone has seen someone restructure files this way in a very visible way, a very natural way, but what Soot's done has been pretty revolutionary. Whether you think about shopping, whether you think about looking at your files for things that you may want to search through, be it pictures, be it images, be it some of your product images for your companies, I've never seen anything like this. So when you think about bold, this was a great example of bold for us.
And just for context, Soot, I mean, we just basically soft announced that Upfront led investment in that company. We're going to be fully announcing that and releasing that to the world in the coming months, where the vision that Soot has is being able to leverage a very powerful WebGL front end, very similar to what you get from video games, with underlying AI ML backend using a vector-based nearest neighbor search to allow you to very simply go on your hard drive or FTP folders, and just like we saw an example where there's a bunch of Lego bricks, no metadata on each item, find exactly what you're looking for in a very visual, amazing manner and do it in style. So with rewarding, when I think about rewarding, I think about software, and I think about anything you buy that just feels like you're getting more than your money's worth. It feels like even in a recessionary environment, you would never rip it out. One of the best examples I can think about is Calendly. So anyone here probably uses Calendly. I imagine, yeah, you probably, the last thing you're gonna do is turn Calendly off, even if you're tightening up budgets, because your meetings ain't getting scheduled. So think about how do you become so valuable to the way a business works, the workflow, both internally and externally as an organization, where no matter what happens in regards to purse strings being tightened, you're staying locked in and entrenched as a solution. Other example of this, Expensify. Think about if you have Expensify as the way in which you get reimbursed. Your HR department takes that out, you ain't getting paid, you ain't getting your money back. And you probably don't want to go back to the old school way in which people are actually going about reimburse statements. Like Expensify just changed the way people get money back for their reimbursements. And you can't go back and you will not take that out. It's just so intertwined to how you work.
Integrated. Everything being connected. This word, I think, sounds obvious to everyone when we think about how we deploy product or how we make or engineer or innovate. But I encourage everyone to take one step deeper, right? So when you think about the app construct in Salesforce and the fact that there's an entire environment dedicated to tools that are built for the users of Salesforce. So whether it's the 11 million people, their community of trailblazers, the apps that the pre-built apps, we just see a really interesting approach to thinking integrated above and beyond, yeah, we're going to integrate our technology with our front end and our back end, but really think about how your service makes itself integrated into someone's entire business stack. And again, when you think about what this company has done to bring people deeper, there's just something going on that's a bit more nuanced than what we traditionally think when we think integrated. So integrated.
And the one thing I'll have to point out here is that, like Salesforce, anyone who uses Salesforce underlying platform, it doesn't feel fast. It doesn't feel addictive, but it is just so at the core with regards to how businesses operate and do their work, partially because they leverage this 7,000 plus and growing app ecosystem to plug all the holes they have in their software, where if you try to take that out, like you're just toast. And think about how as you're building any sort of business, whether it be software or not, to become deeply integrated in the way people work, deeply integrated into their data, into their systems. It's like you're just kind of locked in forever. And that's why Salesforce is worth so much. And it ain't going away anytime soon.
Community.
And I think lastly, community. And this is what I probably feel the most passionate about. It's why we're all here today. It's why people have come from all around the world here to come learn from one another about how it is to build companies, to build startups. And communities, they feel like movements. They feel like they're part of something greater. So I have to call out all the amazing work that Derek and the team at Bevy have done to create the communities and power us here today. Because it is the power of community that just builds something further, builds this greater purpose around, like, why are you using the software? Why are you coming together to learn? It becomes part of your identity. It becomes part of your soul almost. And if you're not thinking about how you actually build a platform that's truly rooted in community, I don't think you're truly thinking about your customers and your users. You're not thinking about how you can truly leverage them to leverage each other to then just be more excited and passionate about building, about coming together. And right now, I'm super excited about the future of community in a way where we're in a world post-COVID, people are coming together. It's exciting that we're here in real life. This theater is packed. People aren't scared to be with one another because, like, we're all humans. We all strive on the interpersonal connection. And to think about how you can actually create community within the way in which you build products. Like, this is the future. This is now. And I'm excited that we're all doing this here together because this is what I feel like is one of the key pillars of the next generation of companies that will be built.
I also encourage you all to not think of it as a marketing tactic. Community can be just as much a product driver as it is a community for employees. When we have conversations about community, we're always thinking well beyond it, just as a marketing function. So again, community is something you have to commit to, but we've gotten, with our small, we're still in stealth, so you'll hear me talk a little bit about our company today. I won't tell you too much, but I'll tell you, drop a few seeds. It forced us to rename every person who joins our platform. We now call everyone who joins our platform a member. It forces us to consider them as a community person, not just someone who's a customer. So we've let this whole idea of community permeate almost every decision we make, functionality, how we facilitate communication, and for us, none of it's marketing. It is all about how we build our product with community in mind.
It's never too early to build community. Look at community as like it's your team, it's your company, it's your soul. That's how I feel about it. When I think about a company that embodies all these principles, like the one that comes to mind the most is Figma. I'm not going to go through each of these points here, but it's hard to deny Figma hasn't mastered all these key areas, community being one of the key areas that allowed it to be so valuable to the point that Adobe's trying to acquire for $20 billion. So that's just a good poster child example amongst many others that we have in our heads for what this platform or this methodology is that we've created. So when we think about just what this all means in terms of practice, how to leverage some of this. So the way I'm using it, and I love Omar to talk about the way he's using it. I'm using it as a way to really prioritize types of founders that we're partnering with, investing in. First off, because this is the way I'm thinking about building in the world. Founders that think the same way. We can have this common language and approach towards actually building something more than this functionality within the tools and products we're building, but it's just this extra element around is how we become fast, addictive, bold, rewarding, integrated, and built on community. There's the importance of prioritizing this on top of technological excellence, because if you think about in a world where there's so many alternatives, there's so many ways to fast copy one another, if you master these areas, in my opinion, you're gonna be able to outmaneuver and have a stranglehold on your customer and be able to outcompete your competitor in a way that you couldn't if you don't think about this. So for me, it's vital. And then to be able to also have this mindset internal within organizations, and not just something that I feel like the founder needs to have. It's this common language that the teams can use and leverage as they're judging themselves, they're measuring progress and performance, they're moving up the maturity curve in each one of these areas. You're constantly improving, you're constantly getting better. And for me, as I think about both helping my portfolio companies or even looking at new investments, it's not that you're going to have all of these elements all at once. You may never achieve excellence in one of these different areas, but if you're constantly looking and seeing, like, where am I weak, where can I improve, where am I incredibly strong, where's the area that I should actually be prioritizing the most of my efforts to actually achieve the outcomes I want as an organization, this becomes a very elegant, simplistic way that I've been using to spend time and look at where I want to invest in a company. So Omar, how are you?
Yeah, so I'm the inaugural the inaugural Fabric operator. So we're actually using this now. How are we using it? I'm using it with our product team. It's become a part of the criteria that we evaluate investment. It becomes a huge prioritization technique for us. When we're thinking about different things that we want to elevate on our product roadmap, we measure it against Fabric. And not only are we using it every day in product, our tech team is thinking through it, our data science team is thinking about it. And as we look at customer support and that client success side, they're also thinking about how they evaluate everything they do. And it's, to Kobie's point, it's above and beyond just software. You can think about Fabric through the lens of an engagement, an event. You can think of it through so many different lenses. And it forces a really interesting level of curation that really creates a bind with the customers you're trying to connect with. So for us, we're using it across our entire company. We're using it in our finance function, our product function, our tech function, our data science function, and our customer success function. So it's become really woven into what we're doing. It's made us faster. It's brought a company which currently kind of sits on one side of, marketing and the opposite side of deep tech. It's brought that company together in a pretty interesting way, unlike I've seen any company in the past.
Yeah. So where is this all going? Well, at the very least, Omar's using it for how he's building his company. I'm using it with regards to helping our portfolio companies and prioritizing the next set of investments. And we have a website we launched called teamfabric.la. And you can go there, you can see all this information, plus a few other examples in each one of the categories. And it's our hopes and ambitions that each example, more and more examples can be surfaced in each one of these areas. So I highly encourage you, if you feel like there's a company that embodies any one of these elements, their submission, sort of elements on each part of the website, or if you think there's a company that embodies all of these, you can put them in for all of them. And we want to create an amazing visualized source of inspiration across Fabric that pretty soon after we get enough submissions, we'll launch, and then it's become a central way by which we can be inspired and learn from one another, in combination of Fabric sessions that Omar are going to host to be able to sit down with people in the community that like this and think this is the way they want to build. And we hope you like it, and we encourage you to give us any feedback, and if we're smoking dope, we get it. So.
Yeah, please, guys, the invite's open. We'd love to, get submissions. Also, as we do these, what we call Fabric sessions, where we'll bring in companies to just talk through Fabric and see how you can make your product more Fabric enabled. It's going to be something that we spend a lot of time in. As I said, we're using it in our company, so we welcome more. And our community starts here. So I'm pretty proud of, this is our first time inviting people in. This website got done a couple days ago. So you are literally the first people that we're inviting in, but in the spirit of community, please join, have some submissions, and then we're looking forward to seeing you on the other side.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Cheers.